The covenant of circumcision. When Abram was 99 years old. Is my mic recording? Yeah, it's recording. Oh. The Lord appeared to him and said, I am God Almighty. Walk before me and be blameless. I will confirm my covenant between me and you and will greatly increase your numbers. Abram fell face down, and God said to him, As for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. No longer will you be called Abram. Your name will be Abraham. For I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you very fruitful. I will make nations of you, and kings will come from you. I will establish my covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants after you for the generations to come, to be your God and the God of your descendants after you. The whole land of Canaan, where you are now an alien, I will give an everlasting possession to you and your descendants after you, and I will be their God. And then God said to Abraham, As for you, you must keep any covenant, you and your descendants after you for the generations to come. This is my covenant with you and your descendants after you. The covenant you are to keep, every male among you shall be circumcised. You are to undergo circumcision, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and you. For the generations to come, every male among you who is 8 days old must be circumcised, including those born in your household, or brought with money from a foreigner. Those who are not from your offspring, whether born in your household or brought with your money, they must be circumcised. My covenant in your flesh is to be an everlasting covenant. An uncircumcised male who has not been circumcised in the flesh will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Is it covenant or covenant? God also said to Abraham, As for Sarai and your wife, you are no longer to call her Sarai. Her name is Sarah. I will bless her, and will surely give you a son by her. I will bless her so that she will be the mother of nations. Kings of people will come from her. Abram fell face down. He laughed and said to himself, Will a son be born to a man 100 years old? Will Sarah bear a child at the age of 90? And Abram said to God, If only Ishmael might live under your blessing. And then God said, Yes, but your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you will call him Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant for his descendants after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will surely bless him. I will make him fruitful and will greatly increase his numbers. He will be the father of 12 rulers, and I will make him into a great nation. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you by this time next year. When he had finished speaking with Abraham, God went up from him. On that very day, Abraham took his son Ishmael and all those born in his household, or brought with his money every male in his household, and circumcised them. As God told them, Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised, and his son Ishmael was 13. Abraham and his son Ishmael were both circumcised on that day, and every male in Abraham's household, including those born in his household or brought from a foreigner, was circumcised with him. The three visitors, chapter 18. The Lord appeared to Abraham near the great trees of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance in his tent, to his tent. In the heat of the day, Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried them He hurried them from the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed low to the ground. He said, If I have found favor in your eyes, my lord, do not pass your servant by. Let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed and then go on your way. Now that you have come to your servant, very well, they answered, do as you say. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah. Quick, he said, give 3 seahs of fine flour and knead it and bake some bread. And then he ran to the herd and selected a choice, tender calf and gave it to the servant, who hurried to prepare it. And then he brought some curds and milk, and the calf that had been prepared, and set these before them. While they ate, he stood near them under a tree. Where is your wife Sarah? They asked him. There in the tent, he said. And then the Lord said, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son." Now Sarah was listening at the entrance to the tent, which was behind him. Abraham and Sarah was already old and well advanced in years, and Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself as she thought, "After I am worn out and my master is old, will I have this pleasure?" And then the Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and say, 'Will I really have a child now that I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? I will return to you at the appointed time next year, and Sarah will have a son.'" Sarah was afraid, so she lied and said, "I did not laugh." But he said, "Yes, you did laugh." Abram pleads for Sodom. When the men got up to leave, they looked down towards Sodom, and Abraham walked along with them to see them for their way. And then the Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abram what I am about to do? Abraham will surely become a great and powerful nation, and all nations on earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him so that he will direct his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just, so that the Lord will bring about for Abraham what he has promised him." And then the Lord said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, that their sin so grievous, that I will go down and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know." The men turned away and went towards Sodom, but Abraham remained standing before the Lord. And then Abraham approached him and said, "Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous in it? Far be it from you do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. Far be it from you. Will not the judge of all the earth do right?" The Lord said, "If I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole the whole place for their sake." And then Abraham spoke up again, "Now that I have been so bold." Okay, now time to... If you were Sarah, childless, and 89 years old, how would you have felt about what you have heard? I would be so freaking dumbfounded that it's not even funny. I would, yeah. If I was Sarah, I would do the exact same thing. I would laugh. 2. How would you describe Sarah's laughter? Well, when you're talking about the Bible, I would say, yeah, her laugh was sinful, because it wasn't sinful for her to laugh. It was sinful that she lied that she laughed. So the act of laughing itself, it's not like she killed someone. I don't think laughing in this situation is sinful. I think the fact that she lied about it is sinful. So she did lie, so that is a sin. There's something with the Ten Commandments of "you shall not lie." So she was honest with her feelings. Suppressed. She was trying to contain herself. Sarcastic. I think too it was spiritual, because she was honest with her feelings. She just laughed. It's just a natural feeling for her to do. When is laughter wrong? At funerals and prayer in church, at bad jokes. I would say it depends on the situation. Depends on the situation. Because if you're at church and somebody says a joke or talking about the Bible, because sometimes when you talk, you're supposed to be happy, and the way that the Bible is treating laughter seems as it is a bad thing. It's not bad to laugh. You know, it depends on the situation. You know, you shouldn't be laughing when you're reading the Bible, but if there's a joke in the Bible, or then maybe, but if you're gossiping, that's bad. You should not ever gossip at church. And at funerals, sometimes it's good to tell a joke. You know, if someone died, you know, if someone died and then you go, "Oh, well, this person would really enjoy this joke," then you tell a joke at the funeral and then everyone laughs, and then that wouldn't be a sinful thing. You know, that's breaking the ice. In what ways has God brought you laughter, as he did to Sarah? Through my children, through my spouse, through friends who were with me in hard times, through helping me in the humor and stressful situation, through all my joys in life, through sending his son for my salvation. What had gave me laughter? My friends through hard times. And when I talk about my friends, I mean my dogs. So I would say my dogs. I love my dogs. My dogs are the light of my life. So every time when I talk about, friends, I'm referring to my dogs. Well, not all the time, most of the time. Through all my joys in my life, my dogs. My dogs. I love my dogs. I'm from New York. I love my dogs. Like, even now, we're kind of laughing, we're kind of having a joke, we're laughing, but we're being respectful. There's nothing, I don't think there's any sinful about having a little joke when talking about the Bible. We're not making fun of anyone. We're talking about my life, because in the sense of, I can't really recall God making me laugh in the sense of as he did Sarah, but just answering these questions. When I'm with my dogs, I laugh for good reasons. They make me happy. I would want to change the word laughter to happiness, because my dogs make me happy more than they do make me laugh. What would you what would it do what would it do you good to laugh about right now? What would this sentence what would it do you what it would do you what the hell what would it do you? That doesn't even make it. What would it do you good to laugh about right now? My stress at work? Nope. The stress in my nope. I would say family. My family. And my mortality. Oh, yo. Honestly, me too. I have a dream where I want to live forever. It's kind of crazy. The thought of dying scares me. Most recently, a couple months back, I was watching a YouTube video of, there's this cryo chamber where you can buy after you die. Well, when you're living, you buy it, and then when you die, they somehow transport your body, and then they put you in a cryo chamber, so that in the future, when they develop the technology to bring you back to life, they take you out of the cryo chamber, and there you go. I've thought about that, but then also too, you have to think about how many hours, how many days will my body decompose to the point where they cannot even transport my body anymore. The video that I watched on YouTube, their facility is in Arizona. And also too, how would the people who find me dead, how would the paramedics or whoever found me dead know that I bought this subscription to a cryo chamber in Arizona? How would they know? Because that doesn't happen in everyday life scenarios. And then you have to go through the person's will, and that could take days. And so your body is just in a hospital somewhere, decaying. It sounds complicated. Look it all up. I forgot the name of the facility. I watched a little short YouTube documentary. I believe it's about 12 to 13 minutes long. It's a real thing. It's a very serious thing. A lot of celebrities are doing it. Paris Hilton has done it already. She already bought her place at the cryo chamber. I don't really know what happens when the person dies, because how would the paramedics and the doctors know that, oh, this person is not supposed to die here. We got to send this person to Arizona. How would they know? Because you pay for it. It's already paid for. And you don't even know if you're in Arizona. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know. There needs to be more credibility into it. I mean, right now I'm just ranting about nonsense. I have thought about it because the thought of dying scares me. And there's different ways to go about it too with the cryo chamber. There's one option where they take your body and they put it in a cryo chamber, or this sounds scary, they get rid of the body and they keep your brain, and they put your brain in a cryo chamber, and then when they develop the technology, they're gonna find a donor, a body donor. I don't even know how. They're gonna find a donor of a body that matches the chemical makeup of your brain, insert the brain into this stranger's body and then be brought back to life. That sounds crazy. But when you think of it, it makes sense, because if you die at the age of 90, you get put into this cryo chamber. Hypothetically, if it all works out, your body gets unthawed and you live your life as a 90-year-old person. How many more weeks do you have left to live? And then also, being in the cryo chamber can do numerous amounts of damage on the nervous system. You don't even know what shape your body is going to be in. You have no idea. And so the brain option makes a little bit more sense, because you get brought into a new, younger body. But then you have to weigh out the possibilities of, am I going to have am I going to have health problems? Is it going to work? Am I going to get a disease? Am I going to share two consciousness? Because I'm having my brain, but then I'm all there's something in my throat. But then I'm also occupying the stranger's body. So it's just something to think about. Anyway. Sometimes I'd laugh about that. Anyway, Sarah's age caused a lot of stress. I don't think she has a lot of stress. I don't know. What do you find stressful about your age? Dying. Look at that. My jacket's messed up. Look at that. Dying in general. I have a fear of dying. A lot of people have fears of spiders, heights. My fear is dying at any age, young or old. And some people have a fear of dying alone. I don't so much have a fear of dying alone. I mean, that too. My biggest concern is just dying in general. I always, in my YouTube videos on my main channel, I always joke about killing myself, and I always joke about how much I hate my life. Blah, blah, blah. In reality, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I always joke about, I want to kill myself. But I never do anything about it. Dying scares me. And then also, you can look at it at a different perspective of not physically dying, but mentally dying as well. Because even if you live your life, even though I am living right now, you could still die and keep getting up each day. In the sense of, are you happy in life? Are you achieving your goals? Are you using the most of your time? And if you're not, that could act as a form of dying. Because what's the point of living when you're already dead, But again, you could also flip it and say, choosing to live, knowing that there's nothing left for you to do, is the most poetic thing a person could do. Because when you die, there is nothing. When you die, you have nothing. But when you live with the possibility of that 1% becoming true. So no matter what you're going through right now, I'm not going to say, oh, it's going to get better. It's not going to get better. It's going to get harder. That's just the way it is. The point of living is to find your purpose. The point of living is to knowing how to survive. Not the need to survive, but knowing how to survive. And keep moving forward, because life is not all sunshine and rainbows, as quoted by Rocky Balboa. Life is going to be hard. But you know what's even more challenging? Living life knowing that you are capable of more and not choosing to do it anyway. Because the last thing a person can do is be in their old age at the age of 90, 80, or 70, even 50, and waking up one day and realizing, I have wasted my life. That's the last thing a person can do. So choosing to live, knowing there's nothing for you, is the most poetic thing a person can do. Because choosing to live knowing there is nothing is the most romantic thing ever. Because choosing to live masters out dying. Because you hold on to hope because there is something that's just something to think about. Where in your life have you given up on your dream? I haven't given up. So that where might God be saying there's still something significant I want you to go through? That sounds a bit ominous to me. Like, what does it mean? Something bad I have to go through? What in your life have you given up? I have not given up on any of my dreams, actually. I have not. I'm very focused on becoming financially stable as I have a job now. I started my first week this week on Monday. I'm still gonna make YouTube videos. Yeah, I may have to slow down. I may not be able to do as much YouTube work, as much piano, guitar, but I'm never stopping on my dreams ever. Even with my health conditions, sometimes I fear that there won't be a cure for my health conditions. Some part I have given up on that, but I'm never going to stop trying. I'm never going to stop trying to drink more water throughout the day, try to help. I'm never going to stop taking iron supplements because if you have reactive hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, taking iron helps. I'm never going to stop trying to become healthy, I am healthy. It's just that I have health conditions that don't make me so healthy. I have never given up and I will never give up because I will choose to live knowing there is nothing for me. But again, that's the only thing a person can do. Choosing to live when there is nothing. Because that's the most romantic shit a person could ever do, The famous saying of, I can't live without you. I can't breathe without you. I'm nothing without you. I'm going to kill myself without you. To me, in my perspective, it means nothing because choosing to live for that person, knowing that they're not going to be in your life, is the most romantic thing a person can do because it's going to be painful. You're going to be depressed. But choosing to live knowing you're going to be in so much pain, that's the most romantic thing a person could do. That's like, taking a bullet for someone. Whether, I can't live without you, and then just die. Who cares? When you die, there is no emotion. When you die, there is no romantic connection. There is nothing. You lose because you die, and then what? Your girlfriend, boyfriend, a pineapple tree, whoever you're in love with, falls in love with someone else. You lose in the end. But when you live, you still kind of lose in the end. But you hold on to hope on getting back with the person, but also finding someone else as well. And then also occupying the same earth as that person. So choosing to live knowing that you're going to be in pain, knowing that I can't live without you, I can't breathe without you, is the most romantic shit a person could ever do in terms of I can't live without you. I am nothing without you. Because when you die, okay, you're nothing without me, okay, then just go die. I don't care. Right? But when you live, you hold on to something. Whether you hold on to her coming back to you, but again, also if you guys break up, and then what's the point of waiting around, just go find someone new. In any aspect of following your dreams, falling in love, falling out of love, choosing to live knowing that you are going to be in pain for the rest of your life is the most romantic thing a person could ever do. If you're really honest, what seems too hard for the Lord in your life? Okay, well, I'm not very religious at the moment. Sometimes when things happen to me, I don't really say, oh, it happened to me because God did it. It's God's plan. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Because I believe that no one in this world is going to save you but you. You're the only one occupying your body. You only know your thoughts. At the end of the day, who's gonna help you take a shower. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, who is going to put your clothes on your body, you know? Sometimes I do think it is God's plan, but sometimes I don't. You know, it's all up to you in the end. But in the aspect of in what areas would it be hard for the Lord to grant me a wish? I can't really speak on that. Just because, you know, we all have our own struggles. I want the Lord God to heal me from my health conditions. But I know that's not going to happen. Maybe it will. My financial success is determined by me and myself alone. You know, no one helped me apply for a job. No one helped me. I did that. Even though right now my mom, she helps me drive me to work, which she does, she helps me. But in terms of the aspect of the fact of, you know, finding a job and also doing the work, I've done the work. I help find the job. No one is helping me with the piano and the guitar. No one is helping me edit or film YouTube videos. All of that is on my own accord. But then also you can look at the fact of, well, who bought my cell phone? Who bought my guitar? Who bought my piano? And then I can say, well, my mom bought me my piano. My father bought me my acoustic guitar. My father bought me the cell phone. The camera, my YouTube camera, I don't film right now, but I have a YouTube camera. I bought that with my own money. But then you can look at a bigger picture of, okay, when I bought that camera, how did I attain that money? Oh yeah, because I was working a part-time job a couple of years ago. Then I go, well, my father and my mom did drive me to work a couple of times. And if it wasn't because of them, I wouldn't be at work making money. And with that, without no money, I wouldn't be able to buy that camera. Right? So all of it is just one big cycle. Sometimes in life, it's not always about you doing the whole work. Sometimes it's more of a collection of people who has helped you along the way. I don't know if the Lord has helped me along the way as well, but my mom, she does believe in the Bible. I do live with my mom, and I am sure that the Lord is looking over us due to the fact that my mom believes in God more than I think anyone within this state. I think I don't know if she's the only person. I don't know if she's the only person in what the whole entire population of the earth, but my mom heavily believes in the Bible. She's listening to a Bible podcast right now as we speak. She's in the kitchen cooking right now, and she's listening to a podcast about the Bible. I mean, dedication. She went to church this morning at 4 a.m. So she's very dedicated to the Bible. You know, so I don't really want to put my entire faith on the Lord, like, oh, I am the way I am just because the Lord. I am the way that I am because of the people around me that they help me. You know, even though I don't have the best relationship with my parents, they do help me, and I can never forget that. And that's why sometimes when it comes to your parents, it's very confusing because they will say one thing to you. Oh, someone's texting me. I have to check my notifications now because I have work now. Right. But in the sense of, oh my gosh, where was I? I forgot what I was saying. Great, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm totally blanking. I forgot what I was going to say. Yep, I'm totally blanking right now. Oh yeah, yeah. I was blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's really hard. It's very confusing when your parents say negative comments to you, but then they will do one nice thing to you. You know, it's. I try my best. I try my best to understand. I do. I want to give thanks to both of my parents, even though they may be hard on me. I wouldn't be able to film this video, without their help. This Bible is not even mine. It's my brother's. The only way that my brother got this Bible because he went to church with my mom, through connections. This bed that I'm sitting on, I think my dad bought it, my mom bought it, I don't know. I want to be sleeping in a bed because of them, because I didn't buy it. This phone, this microphone I actually bought myself with the money that I've saved up over the years. But then also, over the years, with all my birthdays, Christmases, who was the one to give me $10 here? Who was the one to give me $100, cash gift for a birthday? Who was the one to do that? Who was the one to keep driving me to work? My parents, right? So even though I bought this microphone, I bought my camera, I bought a couple of other things myself. But then you have to look at the aspect of, you have to go back in time and go, how did you obtain that money? You worked for it, good. And then in terms of work, you go, how did you get there? My mommy and daddy, right? Even though this bed is mine, even though this phone is mine, even though the computer that's mounted on my phone right now is mine. Oh man, can you see that? Even though this guitar is mine, that the TV in my room, even though that's mine, it's in my room, my dad bought it for me, It's not all about just one person. It's not always about just God. You have to look at it in a different perspective. You have to give thanks to everyone around you. And it's really hard too. I don't think that there's one person out there who is a self-made person. When people say that, "Oh, I'm self-made. I do this myself." I believe some of that is very much true. But then if you really backtrack it and really understand it, it's like, okay, I'm a self-made person. Okay, what does that mean? I own my own business. Okay, do I have any employees? If you got employees, you don't do it all yourself. But then you go, okay, but in the very, very beginning when I was doing this business, did I have any employees? No, I didn't have any employees, so I did it all myself. And then you go, okay, how did I get this business? How did I fund this business? Did it come out of my own pocket? Yes, it came out of my own pocket. How did it come out of my own pocket? Because I had a job. Okay, now at that job, I didn't have a car, but my boss drove me to work. You give thanks to your boss for driving you to work, because if you didn't show up to work, you wouldn't have money. And if you didn't have money for the future, you wouldn't have made your own business. And if you didn't have your own money because your boss didn't drive you, you wouldn't have any money to employ your own employees, making your own business, right? You have to really go back in your timeline and really retract your steps. That's a long version. Yeah. If you're really, I already answered that. Yeah, if you're really honest, what seems too hard for the Lord? Nothing is too hard for the Lord, I don't think, because if you created the heavens and the earth, and then who am I to judge? If God created the heavens and the earth, he created Adam and Eve, he created the animals. Who am I to judge? So I don't think there is nothing that the Lord cannot do. How can this group support you? Let's flip this question. Instead of saying supporting, this year, not this year, this time, let's pray. Let's give thanks to the people that has helped us along the way. Even if they're more of a negative connotation in your life, no matter what it is, give thanks to those people. Even though my parents, I do love them, sometimes it could be hard, but they do help me and I do really appreciate it. So it could be anything positive, anything negative, or anything in between. Let's take 60 seconds and give thanks to all the people in our life that has helped us shape us into who we are today. Was that 60 seconds? I think that was 30 seconds. Let's do one more pagey. Alright. Oh yeah, let's do this page. This page has a questionnaire. And after that, we're done. As to speak to the Lord, though I am nothing but dust and ashes, what if the number of the righteous is 5 less than 50? Will you destroy the whole city because of 5 people? If I find 45 there, he said, I will not destroy it. Once again he spoke to him. What if only 40 are found there? He said, for the sake of 40, I will not do it. And then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak. What if only 30 can be found there? He answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Abraham said, now that I have been so bold as to speak to the Lord, what if only 20 can be found there? He said, for the sake of 20, I will not destroy it. And then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak just once more. What if only 10 can be there? He answered, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abram, he left, and Abraham returned home. Okay, we'll stop there. That's the end of chapter 18. And we're going to answer these questions down below. What impresses you most about God in the story? His confiding in Adam, his judgment, his mercy. I would say his mercy to save 10 people. I think God, he would save one person. If he could find one good person in the city of Sodom, and then I don't think he'll destroy it. But we just have to find out next week and see what happens. And him confiding to Abraham, talking about him being honest and talking about his feelings. To what impresses you most about Abraham in the story? His boldness, his compassion. I would say all the above. I mean, this guy's bold. If I was Abraham, talking to God, asking him all these questions, I would be scared. Like, this guy created the heavens and the earth. He could destroy me with one finger. And here I am, sort of arguing with this man. And then his compassion to help people, his compassion to save people, his compassion of thinking about others, What if you can save one person, Sometimes it's not about saving everyone. It's about saving someone, Sometimes you can't save everyone, but you can save only one. You may not be able to save the whole world, but try to save that one person. Because if you save that one person, sometimes it's a domino effect. Because you don't know if you save that one person, you don't know if they go out and find the cure for cancer. You never know. 3. Which of Abraham's qualities would you most like to have? His compassion. Sometimes I am compassionate, but sometimes I'm not very compassionate. Like, for instance, you show up late for work, and then you don't, and then want to show up late for work, But then Abraham will be like, oh, why show up late for work? What happened? Oh, blah 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 blah. But me, show up late for work? Not my problem. You know what I mean? He has compassion. His boldness, sort of, but I don't feel comfortable checking that off. And his prayer power. His prayer, what does that mean? I'll just say that, but change it to his love for God. I don't have compassion. I was about to say I don't have compassion for God. I do. I should phrase that differently. Is that I'm not very religious right now at the moment. I am just someone who reads the Bible once to twice a week for 30 minutes, 1 hour at a time, reading 2 to 4 chapters at a time a week. And I talk about it on my YouTube channel that no one watches. So, the fact that Abraham believes in God, that's enough for me to take a chance on the Bible. If Abraham is willing to put his faith in God, and then you know what? So will I. Same thing with Moses that we talked about. If Moses was willing to listen to God, and it's crazy if you really think about it. Some guy just told you to build an ark, put all these kinds of animals in it, and he just listened to the guy. If I was Moses, I would be like, dude, what are you talking about? You know? So the fact that Moses and Abraham took faith in the Lord, so can I, you know? So can I. As you discuss your problems with God, what do you expect him to do? To be honest, I'm gonna be a bit selfish, and I'm gonna say grant my request. I have to be honest, and then also listen carefully. I would like someone to listen, because not a lot of people listen anymore, you know? Talk to me in return. I would like God to talk to me. Yeah. When did you last see God answer your prayers by meeting a specific need? I don't know. But, I gotta say this. On Monday, when my mommy was driving me to work, we were about a minute away. No, we wasn't a minute away. We were right there. We were trying to find parking. But we were circling around the building. Anyway, as my mom was trying to change lanes, it would have been our fault. There was a car driving in the right lane. My mom was in the left lane. My mommy was trying to get to the right lane. And then as she merged, this car drove bloop over there. So it would have been our fault because, you know, we didn't look both ways. And the car wasn't doing anything. It was going the speed limit. It was doing what it was supposed to, just driving. And if we would have been there a second earlier, we would have probably hit that car. And two, it was going down a hill too. So if my mom would have hit it, maybe, I don't know what happened. The car could have flipped because it was downhill. It would have slid, and my mom's car would have rolled downhill, which is dangerous. But yeah, that happened on Monday. It was, yeah, my mom kind of merged. But then also, too, at the last second, my mom seen the car, and I don't know what she did. I think she kind of turned the steering wheel to the bit of the left a bit. But yeah, she was about to merge on the right, and there was a car driving. Yeah, but if we would have got there a second or two earlier, we would have definitely probably hit that car. And I don't know what could have happened because we were probably going 20 miles an hour, and then too it wasn't really a steep hill, but it was definitely going down a hill. And I don't know if you could have hit it, maybe the car would have kept going forward. It would have sped up because it's very hard to stop when you're going downhill. Yeah. So that's one example. But again, with that could be anything. That could be an act of God. That could have just been just a possibility. You know, it just could have been just a coincidence of perfect timing. You know, it could have been a whole combination of things. In what ways is the environment you live and work in evil? How does that add stress to your life, and how do you deal with that stress? In what ways is the environment you live and work in evil? What does that mean? In terms of criminal activity, there is no criminal activity that I can speak of. Sometimes living with my parents is a bit hard. They do yell at me because, of who I am. That's hard, but that's not evil. I wouldn't deem that as evil. When I think of the word evil, I think of murder. I think of blood. I think of Satan. I believe the worst crimes committed, and in my life, I can't really speak on areas of my life that are evil. But according to the Bible, it is a sin to be gay, and that is considered to be the devil. So I guess I could say that the fact that I am a homosexual. In terms of my new work, definitely not evil. Definitely not. Moving on. What gives you hope for those around you? What gives you hope? Believing in God. I have seen it happen firsthand. Same with my mother. I mean, she is so motivated to wake up 4 to 5 times a week at 3 a.m. just so she could go to church at 4 a.m. And she's listening to a Bible podcast right now. I could hear her in the living room. And then too, there's a social media influencer called, her name is Corinne. She's a lesbian like me. I believe she's about 2 years older than I am, so around the same age. And just recently she found God, because on her Instagram page, she's been posting tons of scriptures from the Bible, and on her stories and her Instagram posts, she talks about how she found God as of late. And Corinne is still gay, she's still a lesbian, and it's pretty cool, because I'm on my journey of reading the Bible. She's on her journey of really reading the Bible, but I believe she's more in deep with it. I think she's already at that point of believing. I'm not at that point of believing right now. I'm just reading the Bible. It's very nice to see another person who is like me having faith in God. It's very interesting to see. It really is. I'm not really sure if she's still gay or not. I don't know. She's a girl, but she dresses like a guy. And on her Instagram page, she hasn't addressed that, oh, I'm still gay or anything. She hasn't addressed that. But, it's just common sense, But it is very nice to see someone who is me, someone who looks like me, is reading the Bible. So that's very nice to see as well. Oh, this was not a question. This was just a bullet point. I didn't even know that. What gives you hope for those around you? God's mercy. In order for salvation to come to your community, what are you willing to do? Pray for it? Share my faith? Oh yeah, I guess share my faith, because I do have a YouTube channel and I do like to share my insights. Get involved in lives. I don't want to get involved with people's lives, to be honest with you. I got too much going on with me. And engage in community work. I can flip that and say my work in general, because I do work. I don't want to say the name of the organization because I want to keep my private, my work life and my personal life, my YouTube life separate. But I do work for a record label company. It sounds, hold on. It sounds, better than it actually is. It's just a really small record label company. Anyway, I'm more on the admin/marketing side. And we do a lot of community work for the area that we live in. So I guess I can flip that and just serve my community by the work that I do being employed at the record label company that I work at. In order for salvation to come to everyone in your family, what are you willing to do? Share my faith with them. I don't really have to share much because my mother already believes in God. My father, he's read the Bible, but I don't think he's very religious. Spend less time at church and more time with my family. I don't even go to church. That's the thing. I don't go to church just because I like to stay home and I have anxiety when I'm around people. I have cardiac anxiety where my heart beats super fast when I get nervous. Anyway, I don't feel comfortable going to a church because, for one, I don't know where to go. Two, I don't want to get judged because there's not a lot of churches that, like, if I go in and then all of them are straight people, males look like males, women look like males, and then there's me all by myself. I don't want to get judged. I don't want people to come up to me and say, put their hand on my shoulder and say, you did a good thing for coming to us. Oh, we can help you. We can get the help that you need. And they say it in a condescending, because I have been there, where they say it in just a condescending way of, I understand why you're here with us today. We can get you the help that you need. You did a good thing coming to us. We can fix you. I don't need to be fixed. I just want to read the Bible, you know? I don't want to go to church just so someone could put their hand on my shoulder and say, we can pray for you to get better. We can fix you. You know what I mean? When I read the Bible alone in my house, because when you're at church, you're basically doing the same thing. You're at church, you're speaking about the Bible, reading the Bible, talking about it. Whereas when I'm in my room, what am I doing? I'm reading the Bible. I'm preaching about the Bible. I'm talking about the Bible. I'm implementing Bible verses. Well, not Bible, but I'm implementing, lessons from the Bible into my real life, and I talk about it. I'm basically doing the same thing here without all the condescending of, let me put my hand on my shoulder. We can pray for you to get better. Thank you for coming to us today. Thank you so much. And then, too, I don't want to deal with people of, you're not accepted here. We don't want you. I don't want that. The church that my mom goes to, she goes to a Korean church. And most of them are old people, older women. I don't fit into that crowd, and I don't want to be judged. Nor does my mom. Because if they see me, they judge my mom, and they go like, oh, I didn't know you had a gay daughter. Is she okay? It's okay, Chong. That's my mom's name. They go, we can pray for you. Don't worry, it'll get better. Don't worry, God can help you. It's okay. We don't need to be saved. I don't want to, I just want to read the Bible without being judged. Is that okay? Because too, when you say to people like, oh, I read the Bible, and they go, but you're gay, and then you go, yeah, I read the Bible, so what? And then they go, oh, you want to change? You don't want to be gay anymore? I'm not really reading the Bible to change. I'm just reading the Bible just to read the Bible. Can I not do that? You know? I don't know why every time when people think that you're gay and you choose to read the Bible, they think that, oh, you want to change. I don't want to change. I'm not trying to change. Oh, I'm getting a bit heated right there, getting a bit angry. It's just that throughout my life, I have seen it. I have done it. I have been to church before. I have dealt with the hand on the shoulder thing. So I don't want to go back to church anytime soon. And I don't know if there's a church around in my area that has like a gay church. Even if there is, I don't want to drive an hour away. I don't like driving. If it's 10 minutes away, I'll probably go, but I highly doubt there's a church for gay people that's 10 minutes away. I don't like driving. I don't. I'm sorry. But I do live in the state of Washington, and they're more liberal. So I'm pretty sure there's a church. There has to be at least one church, but I should probably actually look that up. But I don't want to drive. I just don't like driving. I just don't. And two, it's going to take away from my time from reading the Bible, because this series is me reading the Bible out loud and completing the whole entire Bible. Because when you're at church, you kind of, bounce around. Sometimes you have a topic. Okay, guys, let's go to Matthew. Okay, guys, and then let's go to Micah. Okay, guys, let's go to Ruth. You just kind of bounce around. Whereas for me, sometimes I can be very methodical. I like to do things in order. And just as for reference, since I never read the Bible, I want to read the whole entire Bible before I go in church and they start speaking out, verses for me to read out. You know what I mean? What is the most pressing or important prayer request you would like to share with this group? Let's go back to what we prayed about, an hour ago? 20 minutes ago? Let's give thanks to the people who has helped us, okay? We should do that. So let's give thanks to the people that helped us. I give thanks to my mother and my father for helping me throughout my life and for giving me a safe environment to live in. I know that sometimes we may not get along, but I do understand where you come from, and I hope you understand where I come from as well. We both come from different generations that believe in different beliefs. I am willing to compromise and understand your beliefs as well. I hope that you understand my beliefs as well. I am trying my best by reading the Bible and trying to understand why you believe the way that you believe as well. I go into this with a respected mind. I'm not trying to diminish the meaning of the Bible in any way. When I read the Bible, I take my time, be patient with it, and I talk about it, and I talk about my life and how it relates back into my life with the Bible. I want to read the Bible. One of the many reasons why I want to read the Bible in its entirety is to respect my mother and my father. Especially my mother. She has always wanted to read the Bible, but I never got around to it due to past bad experiences. But this time it's different. I want to read the Bible on my own accord. Instead of going to church with my mother every Sunday and dealing with people putting their hand on my shoulder, I'm going to do things my way and do it in a very patient and respectful way that respects the Lord as well. I want to give thanks to my friends who know me, and I want to give thanks to my dogs. If it wasn't for my dogs, I literally would not be here today. My dogs are a biggest motivator in my life. I have a job because of them. If it wasn't for my dogs, I wouldn't be as motivated to help find a job, to help buy dog food for them. If it wasn't for my dogs, I wouldn't be so motivated to make YouTube videos, to help with my financial endeavors. I want to give thanks to the people. Well, I want to give thanks to anyone who comes across this video and watches this video. I hope that you learn something from this as well. Amen. Was that a good prayer? I don't think I ever prayed like that in these videos before. I think that was a good prayer. Alright. That was pretty good. Yo, I look bloodshot. I look tired, but I'm not. Yo.